Secretary of State Anthony Blinken leaving Washington today for another trip to Israel and Jordan. A Hamas official is now vowing that the terrorist organization will repeat its attacks on Israel regularly until the country is completely destroyed. He's claiming that Israel has, quote, no place on our land. Iran's foreign minister also warning that the U.S. and Israel of, quote, harsh consequences if bombings on the Gaza Strip continue. Joining me right now is Texas Congressman, House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman McCall. Mr. Chairman, always a pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. Thanks for having me.
So assess these threats from this Hamas official. They're not going to stop attacking Israel, and we're supposed to understand that there are harsh consequences if the U.S. supports Israel.
Right. He says we're going to attack 1,000,000 times as long as it takes to end the occupation of Israel in what they call the occupied territories. This, shows you the resilience they have. It also shows you the resolve that Israel has to eliminate this threat. I don't think it's going to go away until Israel goes into Gaza and eliminates this threat once and for all. This, in fact, would liberate the Palestinian people, and it would be a step towards peace in the Middle East. And they're doing this very slowly and deliberately, and they're also getting into a blocking position in central Gaza to block Hamas from the south so they can set up a humanitarian zone for the civilians.
Yeah, so what should the U.S.'s response be here?
I think, to some extent we're doing a good job. I mean, we got the carrier strike force in the Eastern Mediterranean, carrier strike force in the Persian Gulf. That's a sign of deterrence to Hezbollah and Iran not to strike, or we will strike you. I will say they waited a little long to respond to our troops being hit in Iraq and Syria. It took them 8 days to respond to attacks on our soldiers in Iraq and Syria. They're finally doing that now. This part of the world, Maria, they only understand one thing, and that's force and it's power. We have to project power and strength so they'll back down in deterrence. Otherwise, the Iran proxies will light up and get us into a really bad situation.
Yeah, I know, but Congressman, how long have these attacks on U.S. troops been going on? Do we not respond? Have we responded at all to these attacks on U.S. troops?
Well, they've escalated, obviously, since Hamas invaded Israel and since Israel started its ground campaign into Gaza, by exponential power. And the fact is, there was no response for 8 days without any response. And so I think, now we are doing that. I think they have to understand if they do this, they can't get away with it, and it will be responded by force, which we are doing now. But, look, this is a very dangerous situation. I do not want to see this escalate. I do not want to see Hezbollah come in with 100,000 rockets that could overload the Iron Dome, for instance, which is precisely why we're passing our Israeli package today to replenish the Iron Dome, give them precision-guided weapons and the 155 caliber ammunition that they desperately need right now.
Yeah, but I don't know that it's going to go anywhere, Congressman. You know that in the Senate, they want the money together with money to Ukraine, just the way the president wants.
Yeah. This is a classic House versus Senate exchange, but we in the House want to, show our strong support, just like my resolution that was the most bipartisan resolution ever passed by Congress. We want to send our support to Israel right now. I do think the threats, though, are going to be tied together. That is, Putin's threat to Ukraine and Europe, Chairman Xi's threat to the Pacific, and the Ayatollah's threat to the Middle East. And Maria, you and I talk about this a lot. Our last line of defense, the United States border. This has to be in this package.
Yeah. For
House Republicans to pass any of this, I want to see Remain in Mexico returned as the official policy of the United States that President Trump utilized that ended this whole crisis. And Biden started it by rescinding that very policy.
Yeah, I understand, but you're talking about actual policies that need to be changed at the border. What the president's talking about is giving $13.6 billion for border management. I mean, last time I checked, the border did not need any more money to create new housing for illegal migrants, which is what the president wants to do. The border doesn't need money, it needs a policy change. That's not even in the conversation. I mean, you just said it, but that's not what the president wants to do. He's not going to change any policies at the border.
I mean, the president just wants to throw money down there to facilitate more additional crossings into the United States. Maria, we've had over 7 million encounters since this president took office. I was a U.S. attorney down in Texas. I was chairman of Homeland Security, now Foreign Affairs Committee. I marked up out of my committee the migrant protection protocols, remain in Mexico, which simply states that your political asylum claims need to be adjudicated outside the United States, not inside the United States. Because once they're inside the United States, catch and release applies, and they disappear into our society.
Yeah, but Congressman, I think we can all agree that they're inside the gates, okay? I mean, you're talking about 7.5 million people who have crossed into this country on Joe Biden's watch. We've got, you know, people from all sorts of Middle Eastern countries, not to mention the thousands of people who've come from communist China and continue to come. Montana Senator Steve Daines introducing a Standing Against Houthi Aggression Act to be reclassify Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen as terrorists. There's that I want to ask you about, but really I want to get your take overall on the homeland and what you're expecting in terms of America, how all of this is going to play out, because you know that people are worried now about a terrorist attack here on U.S. soil. We just heard, you know, the FBI director the other day, this week, say that, you know, the risk of a terrorist attack is now at another level, another new level. So what can you tell us about that?
Look, I'm a firm believer of pushing the border out. Too often we deal with it on the 1-yard goal line, if you will, in a football analogy. And by the way, my Texas Rangers, I'm from Dallas, won. You know, that's awesome. Yeah. But having said that, our border policies, we don't push the border out. We have to react on the 1-yard goal line. The political asylum case I'm making adjudicates the claims outside the United States, either in Mexico or a third-party country, and they never enter the United States. This worked. The cartels knew it, and it dried up their business. And it's the magnet that's creating this surge of 7 million people in the United States. To your point, when I was chairman of Homeland, I looked at a couple of factors: special interest aliens and terror watch list individuals. Right. We've had over 200 people on the terror watch list enter the United States. It only took 19 hijackers to bring down the World Trade Center, for God's sakes. This is dangerous. It is very reckless on the administration's part. And for God's sakes, what are we going to do with 7 million people that have no legal status in this country? You know what's going to happen, Maria. What? We're creating a criminal enterprise in the United States of America.
Unbelievable. So you're expecting a terrorist attack as well?
I hope not. I was chair during the rise of the caliphate and ISIS. I remember the inspirational calls through the internet reaching the United States to radicalize individuals in the United States to take up arms. And you look at these college campuses where the anti-Semitism, my dad bombed the Nazis. Terrible. It's sickening for me to see them taking up the Palestinian Hamas cause. If they're inspired to attack, that's a concern.
Well, we need leadership, and we'll be watching yours, Congressman. We appreciate your time. Thanks very much, Chairman McCall.
No, thanks for having me.
Mr. Chairman Michael McCall joining us. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back. Stay with us.